Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. I am just out here on my Facebook page double checking that I am live where I should be, which hopefully I am. And if you are stopping in to say hello, feel free to leave a comment, or if you're watching the replay, feel free to post a comment as well. And I'm just pulling up the video here now so that I can see when you guys are hopping in, and hopefully see when you guys are commenting as well. So thanks again if you are joining me for the live. That is awesome. Hey, Rosie, I can see you, and I'm glad that you're here. And I think I put the right time out on my Facebook page today as opposed to last week when I was an hour early. So we are surviving this crazy Corona business and having the kids home from school. It's definitely been interesting, but we seem to be sort of falling into a little bit of a groove. So hopefully we can keep this up, and hopefully we'll be back to school soon, because boy, the kids need to go back to school. We'll just say that. So, hey, Barbara, thanks for hopping in. I appreciate it. So, today I'm going to show, hey, Linda, woohoo, she's here. All right. So, today I'm going to show you really quickly how I made this card with the Inspiring Iris stamp set. Before we get started, got my bike ride done early, so you could be here. Hey, Roz, thanks for joining today. So glad that you're here. Glad that everybody's here. So thanks again for hopping in. So really quickly before we get started on the video, if you haven't seen it yet, which I can't imagine you haven't because it's all over the place, but Stampin' Up! Has announced that they've got a third release of Celebration products. So there are some really awesome new items that are available that you can earn for free with orders of $50 or greater starting today, and it runs through the end of Celebration. Hey, Marilyn, thanks for hopping in. So it runs through the end of Celebration, so there are some new products. These are in addition to all the items that are already currently available as Celebration choices. These are just some additional things, which is a nice little bonus. I mean, there's some good things out here this time. You actually get 2 packs of the rhinestone ribbons. These are the $50 choices first. You can choose the mini shipping boxes, the Follow Your Art designer paper, the Dynaroar designer series paper, the Woven Threads designer series paper, the Shimmer Detailed Laser Cut specialty paper, which is beautiful, so I'm happy to see that on the list, as well as a pack of Rococo Rose Stampin' Blends markers. So those are all options for orders of $50 or greater. And then we have 2 new items that are for $100 or greater orders, and that is the Butterfly Duet Punch, as well as the Wild Rose dies. So all the details are posted on my blog today, so if you have not seen it, feel free to stop out to stampwithamyk.com, and you can see everything posted out there. So let me know if you have questions on that. Like I said, hopefully y'all have seen it. And hey, Catherine, thanks for hopping in. So glad you placed your order too. So all right. So let's get going on the card. So this is what we are going to be doing today. It's pretty clean and simple, which is, sort of my style. But I love this stamp set. It's so pretty. I love the images in it. It's a nice little sentiment from the botanical prints. But we're going to start with the Inspiring Iris. This is from the annual catalog. So it's been around for a little while, but it's still definitely a good one. I love the flower images in this, and I love that it's 2-step stamping so that you can do the stems one color and the flowers in a different color. All of these are designed as 2-step images, which is, it's a good stamp set. So got some good, cute little sentiments in it as well. So another good one from the annual catalog. And then we also used the Stitch So Sweetly dies. These are in the January to June mini catalog. So we're going to use this die in particular. But this is one, it's bundled with a stamp set. Hey, Nancy, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, so this is bundled with a sentiment stamp set that is in the mini catalog. So definitely a good one too. The dies I'm finding I am absolutely loving. So if nothing else, just get the dies. If you don't love the stamp set, the dies are definitely well worth it. We also are using the Botanical Prints stamp set, and the little bee is from the Botanical Prints product medley. So the stamp set and the little bees, the whole product medley, the only way that you can get the items from this is by purchasing the medley, but it is fantastic. I know I've done a couple projects with it, posted some this past week, and definitely some good ones. So go take a look at it. It's in the mini catalog. It's kind of towards the back and then a little bit hidden. So if you haven't seen it yet, pull it out. There are dies that coordinate with it. There is a pack of designer paper. There are embellishments. There's ribbon. They're little laser cut images. I know I'm forgetting something. Anyway, but it's a whole huge suite of products. So definitely grab it if you haven't yet. It's, like I said, it's toward the back of the mini catalog. So it is called Botanical Prints Product Medley. And then the last thing that we used is the Stitched Shapes dies. I used the largest of the ovals, so we're going to use that one to cut out the iris image. So I'm going to set the dies over here by my die cutting machine, get the stamp sets out of the way, and get to work on the card. So, hey, Debbie, thanks for hopping in. Glad that you're here today. So I started with a piece of the Parisian Blossoms Specialty Designer Series paper. And, of course, I used the non-specialty side because, for whatever reason, that's usually what I end up using. I don't know why. But I love the color in this. I love that it's kind of a muted background. It's got the foiling on the opposite side, so that's what makes it a specialty paper. And this is also in the mini catalog, but like I said, I'm gluing the foil side down, which sort of makes me feel a little guilty, but I love the other print so much that I couldn't help myself. I had to use it. So the Inspiring Iris, again, it's one of those that's kind of hidden a little bit, but just, it's a good stamp set. Definitely a good one in the annual catalog. So we are adhering the piece of Designer Series paper to, hey, Donald, thanks for hopping on. So adhering to a piece of Pool Party cardstock, the Designer Series paper. I'll have all the cardstock cuts out on my blog tomorrow, and I'll share the link in this video once I get the blog post done. But the designer paper is cut to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and the Pool Party cardstock is cut to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then we are going to put this on the front of a card base that is Pool Party. When I made my actual card, I made it so that it was the more landscape look. This one is going to be more of the kind of book look. It's the same exact, everything on the front of it's the same exact designs and everything, that just the card base is a little different. So this card base is cut to 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're going to use a couple little Stampin' dimensionals to adhere the layered piece of designer paper to the card front. So... Oh, it's Kathy. Okay, I was wondering. So I didn't want to, I'm like, Donald, okay. I mean, cool. I don't mind having Donald here, but glad that you let me know that it's you, Kathy. So welcome from Canada. Hopefully you're staying warm up there. And I heard that they've had some snow. We had a little snow here earlier this week too. So oh, thanks, Meryl. I'm glad that you like it. And hey, Danette, thanks for hopping in. So it is definitely, it'd be a good one for Easter too. I guess I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it's pretty, I love flowers, love all the floral images. So I don't know, Stampin' Up! Can always get me to buy more and more flowers. So, hey, Barbara, I'm glad that you figured out how to hop in and join us today. So we got the card base, the basics, the background of the card base done here. I'm going to pull out, this is just Whisper White cardstock, and we're going to start stamping on it with the images from the Inspiring Iris stamp set. I'm going to start with some gray granite ink, and I've got the kind of the outlined image of the iris on a block here. And we are going to stamp that down. And I know I occasionally get questions about why I hold my ink pads up when I am stamping on the videos. And I simply do that so that it doesn't bang the table and it doesn't shake the camera as much when I do it that way. That's the simple reason. Normally when I'm stamping by myself, I actually have it down on the table. So just didn't want you all wondering what I was doing and why I had my ink pads floating up in the air. Normally I do not do that. But like I said, I know it's hard to watch it when the camera is shaking so much. So I try to minimize that as much as I can. Using a little soft seafoam ink to stamp the stems on. And this is one of those images that it took me a minute to realize, but they don't line up perfectly correctly. So it's supposed to look a little artsy, if that makes sense. So don't be alarmed that your images are not going to line up perfectly, but that's the fun part. They don't have to. And it's supposed to look like that. So I love Pool Party is definitely one of my favorite colors as well, Catherine. So I'm using a little Pool Party ink to stamp the irises on. Getting those inked up in here on the over the image. So again, it's fairly easy to line up because it's fairly forgiving and it does not have to be perfect. Like I said, that's the fun part about this stamp set is that they're supposed to look artistic, so we can stamp it however we want to. So, all right, the last thing that I did for this image was I took my light So Saffron Stampin' Blends marker and just use the little brush tip end, and hopefully you can see on the iris images there are some, I know for real irises have these, I don't know what they're called, I'm sure there's some official word for them, but down the center of the leaves, or the center of the petals of the flower, they have, usually it's a little yellow something. I don't know what it's called. Like I said, anybody who's a flower expert, feel free to let me know what it is. But I know that there's usually a little bit of yellow on them. So that is what I've done, just taken a little marker and added just a touch of yellow. And because it's a Stampin' Blends marker and it's alcohol based, you can color right over the regular Stampin' Up! Water-based inks without it smearing or doing anything weird like that. So, all right, so I'm going to go and slide over next door here and just do a little bit of die cutting. Oh, it's part of the beard. Is that what it's called? Stamen? I don't know. I don't know the flower terms. I just know that it has something yellow and it's normally kind of fuzzy looking on it, but that's all that I know about it. So I'm going to use the largest of the ovals that are in the stitched shapes dies, and we're going to just run this through the die cutting machine quick. So I'll be back in 1 second. Hopefully y'all are enjoying your Tuesday. I almost forgot what day it is today. Goodness, it's been a week already. So, but had snow on the ground here yesterday morning, and then it rained all afternoon, so all the snow went away. And now today the sun is shining, and it's warmer outside. I'm not going to go so far as to say it's warm, but it's definitely warmer. It feels much more spring-like outside than yesterday did. So, all right, so we've got our irises, I think irises is the plural. Got those all cut and ready to go here. Then we have got, I've used the sentiment from the Botanical Print stamp set that I showed you real quickly earlier. So just using this friend image from the stamp set, a little bit of Versamark ink, and we are going to heat emboss it with copper embossing powder. And this one is a pretty little sentiment, so not one that you don't have to worry too much about stamping it straight, because we're going to die cut it so you can stamp it on however kind of crazy way you want to. And again, we're using copper embossing powder, Stampin' Emboss powder. Just sprinkling a little bit of that over the top of the stamped image, and then making sure we've got all the extras kind of brushed off. And I'm going to put the lid on my embossing powder before I dump it everywhere, because I have done that and it is a huge mess. Just in case you were wondering, yes, it's a huge mess. So we're going to flip on the heat tool here, so it's going to make a bit of noise for a second. So, hey Samantha, glad that you are here. It's 69 degrees in Tulsa today. Woo, and sunny, and 60 in South Dakota. That is definitely warmer. So I flipped the heat tool onto the level 2 settings so that it's actually going to heat emboss rather than just dry. Hopefully you can see the little bit of change that's happening. It goes from kind of a dull to a smooth and shiny look when the heat embossing is done. So you do have to give it one little quick second to sort of cool off a little bit before you start trying to die cut it or do anything with it, because it will smear if you touch it immediately. Again, ask me how I know, because I've done it plenty of times. So, all right, so again, we've got this Stitched So Sweetly dies that we're using, and I'm using the littlest, tiniest die that there is in the set, and I'm just going to put it around the friend sentiment and run it through the die cutting machine. So I'll be back in 1 second. So, if you have not checked out my blog today, take a look. I'm actually running an ordering bonus where you get double reward points for every order of $50 or greater that you place between now and the end of Celebration. There are 2 reasons for that. Number 1, it's the end of Celebration, and I like to do a little something bonus for you guys because Celebration is always an awesome time of year. And 2, my birthday is on Saturday, so just doing it as a happy birthday to me, giving you guys a little bit of an ordering bonus. So hopefully y'all like that. If you have questions, feel free to hop out on my blog and take a peek at the information out there. It's all posted. Have questions, feel free to send me an email or drop me a note too. So, all right, using a couple little Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere my die cut irises on. So, all right, hopefully can get the backing peeled off them. There we go. And I roughly centered it. Again, I didn't do any specific measuring or anything to make sure that it was perfect. Just sort of roughly centered it. And then I've got my die cut sentiment that I'm going to put a little bit of snail on one side over here where it's going to be adhered onto this part of the iris, and then put a little Stampin' Dimensional over on the other side. Well, thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. So, not trying to, like, you know, make y'all wish me happy birthday or anything, but just was giving you a reason why I'm doing another little ordering bonus. So, something that's fun for you all too. So, all right. So, I've got some chunks on there. So we are going to adhere. I've got the snail under this part, and I've got a Stampin' Dimensional under the other side of it. And once I get it set where I want it to be, just going to press it down there a little bit. And then these are the little bees from the Botanical Prints product medley, which again, the only way that you can get the bees and the stamp set from the Botanical Prints is to purchase the product medley, which is towards the back of the mini catalog, but it's definitely a good one, something you want to take a look at before it goes away. So I really like it a lot, and I've been using tons of the products out of it. So I just rolled up a glue dot, and I'm adhering it onto the back of the little wing of the bee, making sure that it's hidden up in there. And then I'm just going to take the bee and adhere it on to the die cut. So the card front is all done. So that's it. Like I said, it's pretty simple, but I liked the way it turned out. I was going to, I thought about adding more things, and I think simpler is usually better when it comes to cards for me anyway. So the inside of the card I kept pretty basic. This is just Whisper White cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and I've got a little piece, a leftover piece that I trimmed off from the card front of my Designer Series paper. Just going to use a little bit of snail, and I'm going to adhere that on to the inside of the card, or the Whisper White panel, I should say, that I'm going to put on the inside of the card. And I did leave it a little bit extra long, so I'm going to trim that off with my snips, and then adhere it to the inside of the card base. Hopefully with my snail here, if I can drive it straight enough to get the adhesive put on it instead of all over crazy. So, well, thanks. I'm glad that you guys like the card. Like I said, it's pretty simple, but it actually has been one of my favorite ones I've made recently, because, I don't know, I guess I love the colors of it. And again, flowers, I can't help myself. I love all the flowers. So using a little bone folder to do a good solid crease on it. So here's the card. Oh, of course, I got junk stuck to it. So here's the card we made in the video today. And then here's my little sample card that we started with. So if you have questions about it, let me know. Again, I'll be posting all the details out on my blog tomorrow. So there'll be links to all the products and everything that I used, as well as all the cardstock cuts. So if I said anything wrong, which I usually do in the video, the right details will be posted on my blog. So again, thanks so much for joining today. I will plan to be live out on, the Designer Series paper. Catherine is asking, it's from the Parisian Blossoms Specialty Designer Series paper. So it's from the mini catalog. So take a look at it. It's one of the flip sides that you almost never see people use, because the foil side is so pretty, but I like the flip side just as well in this one. So. But I will be live out on YouTube on Friday. I'll plan to be live at 2 o'clock. No matter what time I put on my Facebook page, it'll be 2 o'clock. And then again, I will plan to be live here on Facebook next week, Tuesday at 2 o'clock as well. So thanks so much for joining, and we will see you all soon.